There are claims that Adi Shankara never mixed bhakti with Advaita, and bhakti hymns were not written by him. As an Advaita proponent who suggests a good mix of bhakti on the way, how would you explain?
I think in this day and age of, after Sri Ramakrishna, the answers to these questions are much easier. Notice how Sri Ramakrishna smoothly moves between jnana and bhakti, between I am Brahman and thou art everything. Often in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, in the same page, he is talking about Satchidananda, existence, consciousness, bliss, and then smoothly moving into devotion to Krishna or to the Divine Mother. One would think it's much easier to say that Adi Shankaracharya was somebody like that, and therefore the commentaries on the Upanishads, the highest Advaitic conclusions, there's no conflict between that and the huge output of bhakti literature which he has written. One of our Swamis was joking, Totapuri, who was a very one-sided non-dualist, he would be sitting with Sri Ramakrishna at the end of the day talking about non-dualism. Suddenly Sri Ramakrishna would start clapping like this and singing Hari Hari, Krishna Krishna, Govinda Govinda. That's the way he would, at the end of the day, he would take the name of God. And his way of deciding what's the end of the day, that evening is coming, is if he could not count the individual hairs on his hand, that means it's getting dark. It's now time to clap and take the name of God. But Totapuri would have none of it. Totapuri said to him strictly, scolding him, "What are you doing? Are you making chapatis?" In the north of India, even now in the villages, you will see in the evening, they start making this flat bread, the chapati. They would do it like this in the fire, like this. So, are you making chapatis? And Sri Ramakrishna, of course, indignantly said, "I'm taking the name of God, and you are saying I'm making chapatis. What do you mean?" Now, one of our Swamis, I heard him recently, he said, if that is so, then Shankara, Adi Shankara, is a daily chapati maker because he's always making chapatis. He's written the most wonderful body of devotional hymns. Now, you would have to go to the extent of saying all of that is not Shankara. Just the commentaries on the Upanishads are Shankara, because that's our understanding of Advaita. And one shouldn't blame a person for that, because someone like Totapuri would also think that. But Sri Ramakrishna does not seem to think that. The Ramana Maharshi, one of the greatest exemplars of Advaita Vedanta in the 20th century, he doesn't seem to think that. For him, the mystical devotion to Arunachala, to Shiva, and the realization of the self, they're one and the same thing, actually. So, yes, Advaita and Jnana and Bhakti are not contradictory. They may seem to be initially. They are different approaches to the same reality. One way of understanding Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Ma Sharada is they were tremendously practical. They wanted you to become spiritual and become enlightened, God realized, in whatever way possible. And there is evidence for this. Somebody wrote to Swami Turiyananda, a monk of our order, very well read. What was the philosophy of Sri Ramakrishna? Was it Advaita? Was it Vishishtadvaita? Was it Dvaita? Was it knowledge? Was it devotion? What was the philosophy of Ramakrishna? And there's a beautiful long letter from Swami Turiyananda. He says, at the end he says, but if you press me to choose one, like, say this is the philosophy of Sri Ramakrishna, I would have to say, become enlightened by whatsoever means as soon as possible. That was the philosophy of Sri Ramakrishna.
That's good.